Hi, I'm Isaac O'Bannon, Technology Editor for CPA Practice Advisor, and I'm here again with Randy Johnston. He's Vice President of Network Management Group Incorporated, as well as a longtime industry technology expert, especially around the accounting profession. He's here to talk about some apps that are really helping lead the accounting profession and firms online. So instead of traditional, in-firm programs that are installed on your servers and on your local computers, it's been a trend, obviously, over several years that more and more of our programs are going to the cloud, SaaS, software as a service, ASP-hosted solutions, all kinds of acronyms. But Randy's here to kind of make sense of which programs for a small practitioner, a small firm, really make sense. Are you ready to take your taxes online? Are you ready to take your client bookkeeping online? Are you ready to take other aspects, maybe even your Microsoft Word, Outlook, and Excel online? Randy?
So, Isaac, on this issue, it's actually a little hard to figure out the simplicity behind this. The way I'm looking at the cloud apps and the regular apps right now, and if you just work from this, I think it might help you. If you think in-house and the way you've done things traditionally, being kind of a private cloud, to use the cloud names around it. If you think about things that are out in the big world, let's put those in public clouds. So that might be hosted services that you buy from somebody like Thomson, the virtual office. But I think what the issue is what can we put up in the cloud and what do we have to keep in-house? And when you've got things in both public and private cloud, that's what's normally referred to as a hybrid.
Well, so how do they interact? That's also probably a key concern that a lot of professionals have. And who owns that data? When do they absolutely have the right to get it back?
Yeah, so your strategy decision here is, do I keep everything in-house, which many of you are probably leaning towards that? Can I get everything up in the cloud? That's where you're going to save the most money compared to the next model, hybrid. Because in hybrid, you've got maybe not all, most of the expense of keeping things in-house and most of the expense of having things in the cloud.
Right.
So what you have to think through is, what are my key applications? So if we go back to the big publishers, CCH, Thomson, Intuit, and so forth, you have to think, what do they have as offerings? Could I move all or most of my information up there? And that includes Microsoft Office,
right,
because Thomson and CCH, for example, will host your applications and also host Microsoft Office.
And part of the benefit of that is, of course, is you're always using the most up-to-date versions and you don't have to install it. And price-wise, it ends up being about the same.
About the same. So the question then is, what about all the other stuff? So let's think Intuit QuickBooks for just a moment. So we've run QuickBooks in-house, but we've got some options from commercial hosters today where we can run QuickBooks up in the cloud. So I like players like a Windsor or CPA ASP InSync or Cloud9. Those are all good companies that will either take all your applications, which is a pretty good option, or will only do QuickBooks and do it very, very well.
But the full QuickBooks and not QuickBooks Online, which is, it's good for some small businesses, but it isn't appropriate for an accounting firm managing multiple companies. But you're saying that these ASP providers, hosting providers, can take the full QuickBooks and all your client data files and host them securely online. So it's kind of like you're using a web-based service, but you're renting the service space.
That's right. And so for the last 3 firms that I've been in that had employee counts between 10 and 15, all 3 of them, the numbers told us that we were going to move everything into the cloud, but we did it with a hosting provider who could carry everything. So CPA ASP would be a good example of that, or Cloud9 would be a good example of that, where they could take all the applications, including the real desktop QuickBooks, right? And so when we watch this, you're going to also need to watch for new generation accounting software. Intuit will introduce new QuickBooks Online. Xero will have their new accounting software. Accountants World has their interactive software and so forth. So you have to think about your practice and say, I'd like to be able to take care of these things. This is what my practice is. Who has solutions for those? Am I going to keep it in-house, private cloud? Am I going to put it up in the public cloud? Or am I going to have to run a combination of the two? Which is best for my clients, which is easiest for my firm, which gives us the most work flexibility. And honestly, I usually run the deal in terms of just dollars and cents. Which one makes the most sense?
Right. In the long term. And I guess that's another way in which the ASP model, if you can hire a company like ASP, the companies you mentioned, CPA, ASP, to handle all of the programs that you have, you can also kind of contain and better forecast your own budgeting for your firm, because it's going to be priced on a monthly basis or an annual basis that isn't going to involve as much up and down in IT expenditure.
That's right, and I'm actually fine with running all in the cloud. There's a lot of firms that should do exactly that, but sometimes you are better off running everything in-house,
right,
and using a managed service provider or a local provider to take care of all your technology needs. So you need to think about your strategy and say, this is my business strategy. I can listen to all the noise, but this is what works for my clients and our firm.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us again
Please
today,
do,
Randy.
Isaac.
Thank you.